Hello, good people. So, I was just chilling over the weekend, had a little bit of some free time, so I decided to search the internet to find out what interesting things happened this year, just to find out some of the interesting events that happened in the sporting world, as well as reality TV and so forth. So, I ended up coming across a show called Physical Asia, Physical 100, the Asian edition on Netflix. This was a very interesting show. I have a lot of favorite moments on this show. I have learned a lot from watching this show about just the overall ability for one to push their body to the very limit where it feels like they are about to give up. It feels like they are about to get an injury. It feels like they could not stretch even further than that point, but human beings are able to push their bodies to the very limit, and that is what that show taught me. The most interesting part about that show was the people who tend to go very far in that series were not really the people we thought would go far. And that was interesting to watch. That was very interesting to watch. I will be breaking down team by team the things that I found the most interesting about each and every single team, the most interesting things that happened per event and so forth. Now, this overall show consisted of 5 quests. The first quest was wrestling match. Yes, it was a wrestling match called Conquer the Territory. These teams were divided into teams of 6 players from each respective country. In total, there was about 16 countries. From the previous round to the next round, 4 teams were disappeared, and then it went down to 8 teams. From that round to the next round, another teams were disappeared, 4 of them, which chopped them down to the last 4 teams. In the last 4 teams, 2 teams were exited, and then 2 teams remained. This was a quest that consisted of 12 episodes. 2 episodes would share a spot for one quest. Now, a single episode happens to be 1 hour 20 minutes long, or 1 hour 10 minutes plus minus. What I found the most interesting about the way in which these challenges were set up is a lot of the competitors at first thought this would be one of those situations where the strongest, the most athletic, the most enduring contestants would have an advantage. But it all went down to simple teamwork and strategy. I'll explain as the story progresses, or as the video progresses, why I say it went down to teamwork and strategy once I reveal who the winner of this entire quest was, for those of you who did not watch it. The first team I'll talk about is Team Indonesia. The reason why I'm talking about this team is they happen to be the weakest team. Funny enough, they are the peoples that had a bodybuilder, which looked like they would be the most natural peoples to win the competition. The irony was they had no teamwork, no coordination, nothing whatsoever. And to have a person of that caliber, his name is Ike Egad Executioner. I hope I pronounce his name correctly. Sorry if I'm butchering his name, but he's the executioner. Very respected person in the bodybuilding world. Very respected man in the entire world in general. But such a disappointment when it comes to this quest. He couldn't really rally behind his team. He couldn't, push them to the very limit. He couldn't motivate them to do anything more than what they were doing. What they looked like was a team of very individualistic persons, a team that pretty much relied on their brute strength and nothing else, which was a disappointment given what was at stake. National pride was at stake, but nonetheless, they they did an amazing job regardless. So I have to give them props for that. Up next, we have the second weakest team. And the second weakest team happens to have Superborn. They have Superborn, the most incredible Muay fighter in the history of the sports of Muay Thai fighting. He's an amazing kickboxer. They even have James, which is a volleyball player. They have Sunny, which is a rugby athlete. Oh, this team was good. This team looked great. But you know what their weaknesses were? Their weaknesses was the fact that they couldn't get over the fact that people have already undermined them. They couldn't get over the fact that people were already setting a target on their back. They couldn't get over the fact that people kept on calling them the weakest link. Now, this is one of the situations where, as a human being, as a person, you need to look at the situations you are dealt with. You look at the way people see you. You look at where you want to go and say, no, I will not listen to the noises that are coming from the outside. I will not listen to the noises that are created by those who want me to become stagnant, by those who want me to be kept in this little box, by those who are judging me based on how I look, even though they do not know the skill sets I have to offer. That is what Team Thailand wanted to do throughout this match. And must I say, in some of those instances, they fought way more than I could have ever expected. In most of those instances, they were punching way above their weights. And I must congratulate Superborn for that super mentality. That was awesome. That was great. Keep up the good work. You might have lost the match, but you definitely won my heart. Next, we have a team that had such an amazing person in the world of combat sport. Yes, the one and only, the legendary winner of 8 different weight classes. He is the world's most intimidating boxer. He is a legend through and through. He is the only man that ever managed in the history of boxing to have a longer streak than Mayweather. He is the man that people like Terence Crawford look up to and say, me, I want to beat that guy's record. He's the only man in the history of boxing to ever have a 31 win record. 31 match winning streak. Was beaten by this guy. And pretty soon, it will be beaten by Terence Crawford, Who's the man I'm talking about? You already know the man I'm talking about. I don't need to say his name. When he entered that arena, he had so much aura, he had so much charisma. He owned that place. The entire arena was screaming his name. The entire arena was clapping hands for him because the man got sauce. The man got sauce. The man got the trippings. I'm telling you, the man is as cool as ice, as cool as a cucumber, as calm and as collected as a Zen master. I'm talking about Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao entered the field and you could feel his presence. Even in the contest, which you would look at a team Philippines and think they are outmatched here. You would look at Team Philippines and think they are outweighted here. You could look at an obstacle course and think Team Philippines will not make it past this obstacle course. There was this one obstacle course that had hurdles. Now these weren't normal hurdles, by the way. These was large. These was hurdles made from, you know, those big logs they used to make ships and stuff. Those logs were used to make that obstacle course. There would be one log, the second log, and then three logs going this way. Your task was to hurdle around these your task was to hurdle around these, what you call them, logs, ne? You make the first hurdle, you turn, make the second hurdle, you turn, and then you turn around, you do the same thing back to your starting position. You press a pad, you go back, you go forward, etc. etc. The way Manny Pacquiao encouraged his team throughout that process was just amazing. You know, the way in which he made them continue pushing, even when it was tough. Now, the other teams had a male and a female, right? The female was there in order to add speed, and then the male was there in order to add, skills set. That was the other people's strategy. It seems to work for them. Now, the Philippines had two females. The logic behind having two females was one of them was a CrossFit influencer, right? And the second one was a track and field athlete. She specifically did 400 meters hurdles. So she has a great amount of stamina. She has a great amount of power, and she's pretty used to jumping obstacles. She's been doing so throughout her career. What had happened during that race? Well, she ended up coming third place. They tried to cover up for her in the final match, but by then it was a bit too late because there was this tiebreaker they had where one of their skeleton wrestlers, no, one of their skeleton run races, yes, skeleton races, was doing a sack a sack throw challenge. The sack throw challenge was, there was about a 4 meter high wall in which you had to throw in 20 kgs sack of rice over that what do you call it, that hurdle over there. So it was an intense competition, and you could see that this guy was trying by all means to make a success of throwing that thing overboard. But he only had 10 minutes to do so. Only had 10 minutes to do so, and he just kept on throwing, kept on throwing. Manny Pacquiao was there trying to motivate him, but unfortunately he couldn't make it to the last second. And that's how they were eliminated. First challenge, they managed to become successful. Second challenge, they managed to not become successful. But even then, them not succeeding just motivated them to fight harder and harder each and every single round. They managed to surpass the third quest, and then they lost in that third quest. First round of that third quest, they lost, they went back home, which was so unfortunate because I was looking forward to them at least reaching the fourth quest. I knew they were never gonna be in the final because they were outsized. Let's face it, they were outsized. We were all rooting for Team Philippines, but they were outsized, they were outpowered. But what I love about this was the fact that we got to see Manny Pacquiao's leadership qualities. We had to see Manny Pacquiao's wisdom, Manny Pacquiao's intellect, which is something beautiful to watch. The man got great leadership qualities. He really is the legend people say he is. And a beautiful, beautiful human being. He has a beautiful heart, and his will and determination to keep on fighting despite the odds that are stacked against him is very inspiring. The man is a true legend. The man is a true legend. Okay, let me stop fanboying a bit and move on to the next contestants. Hi, this is Mpilo. If you like this video, please click on the subscribe button below. Click the notification bell so that you can be informed whenever I release the video. Don't forget to share and like, comment below. Your engagement can help me grow this channel faster than I ever thought. Thanks for watching. Bye. Gonna move on to Team Australia. Hey, man, did I think Team Australia was going to win this challenge. The reason why I thought Team Australia was gonna win this challenge is because they had a strong man. They had a strong man. And this is not just any strong man. This is the world's strongest man, 2020 to 2023 edition, Eddie Williams. You don't know who Eddie Williams is. Let me tell you who Eddie Williams is. This man pulled a tank, an army tank with a soldier inside. That is who Eddie Williams is. This man knows how to deadlift a car, a Beetle 19, whatever year it was made, but he knows how to lift a car, a Volkswagen. This man probably eats iron for breakfast. I don't know why I said that, but it sounded interesting. They also had Dominic Tomato. Ooh, Dominic Tomato. The way he ran through those hurdles, the way he was ziplining through that shipwreck challenge, the way he was holding on to that thingy, yo, man. Yo. And you also had this Alex lady who was holding on to that, you know that thing that acrobats do, that has rings and whatnot, and then they put their legs there, they put their arms there, and then they do stretches like this when they're holding with one arm and all those things during a circus act. Now, bear in mind, Alex is not an acrobat. Alex is a fitness coach. The way she pushed her body to the very limit and went neck to neck with a professional acrobat is just fantastic. It is just amazing. It shows you the willpower and the determination Team Australia had in order to win this entire thing. But you know what? She wasn't rewarded in the end, which was quite disappointing. I mean, it was disappointing to see Australia going out. But if there's one thing I'm proud of them for doing is they managed to reach the fourth quest. They managed to reach the fourth quest. I'll forever be proud of them for doing that. I'll forever show my appreciations to them for doing that. I have mad respect for Robert Whittaker. I have mad respect. If I didn't show it before that, I think this guy is a fantastic leader. I think this guy is a phenomenal fighter. I think this guy has an amazing, amazing mental fortitude. I'm gonna show it right now. Robert Whittaker, you, you are an incredible fighter. You deserve all the praise you keep on getting. You deserve all the accolades you've been winning. You deserve everything. You are what makes UFC the UFC. I have mad respects for you. Thank you very much. Up next, we have Team Japan. What Team Japan lacked in size, they made up for in strategy as well as cooperation, as well as the sheer determination to, against all odds, fight till the very end. You could see the spirits of the blue samurai flowing through each and every single person as if they are on the battlefield trying to defend the honor of their homeland. You could see the fierceness in each and every single one of their faces. You could see the determination and the hunger to just continue pushing and pushing and pushing till the very end, even if it meant they would reach their very limit, even if it meant they would die on the pitch. That was the price they were willing to pay. Team Japan was phenomenal. And their team captain, Yushin Okami. Thank you. Thank you for putting on a great show, my guy. Thank you very much. You see what you did on that platform was phenomenal. What you did on that platform was amazing. And it was unfortunate that you had to leave the way you did, man. It was unfortunate. You know, the one challenge where I thought you guys could win, you ended up losing. But I thought about it for a second when I was watching that entire scenario plan out. My thoughts were, okay, these guys have done everything the exact way I would have expected them to do in the Castle Conquest challenge. They had moved the cart the way I wanted them to move the cart. They had moved the cargo the way I wanted them to move the cargo effortlessly. They did so effortlessly. When it came to opening that barrier, that is where I got disappointed. You see, if only you guys would have, shifted a bit to the side when you were holding that. If you would have shifted to the side when you were holding that log that we were using in order to burst open the door over there. If you would have twisted it to the side like this and then swing full force, 1, 2, 3 to the side instead of going straight every time. On your second attempt, that door would have been open. It would have been open. And thirdly, there's a strategy that both other teams used when they were trying to close the gate that I didn't see Japan using. Both the other teams that were in the final, went closer towards the door. They went closer. That way, they maximized the effort they were using pulling the rope, while at the same time minimizing the friction the door was causing against them. So what you did, Team Japan, is you went to the back and you used the cart in order to pull the door, which was a good idea, but the problem was you couldn't roll the cart back because you would have immediately been disqualified. So it was a pointless effort to try and use the cart in order to pull the door because you would have been disqualified. So what you ended up doing was you ended up standing on that cart and pulling the entire way, which was just not an effective strategy. If you would have gone closer to the door and you would have pulled it, it would have been a different story. We could be calling you the strongest team in Asia, but it is what it is. You went there and you did your best. Your show was phenomenal. The type of resilience you guys showed, Amoti was amazing. Amoti was amazing. uh, you guys were amazing. Your baseball player, I believe it's Katsumi. He was amazing. I didn't know baseball players could be so strong. I honestly didn't. I knew he would be fast. I knew he'd have crazy amounts of stamina. And I even saw it on that treadmill challenge that gave you an advantage for the quest. He had an insane amount of stamina. He had an insane amount of endurance. The man was built for speed. The man was built for the most challenging situations out there. Unfortunately, one mistake cost you the entire thing. You guys deserved better. You really did deserve better, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go to the second last team. Or should I say the second best team? To me, they didn't feel like the second best team. To me, they felt like the best team. In terms of an overall, what this show is meant to show, which is brute strength, what this show is meant to show, which is the will, fighting spirit, what this show is meant to show, which is being able to adapt to each and every situation. I feel like Mongolia was the best overall representation of what this show is all about. It is sad to see that in that final moment, when winners are made, they just didn't seem to get over that final line. Mongolia had an MMA fighter. Mongolia had a Mongolian folk wrestler. Do you know how tough Mongolian folk wrestlers are? Do you know how huge that guy is? Hey, if that guy walked in, chances are he would be way too tall to walk through my door. He would be way too wide to even walk in like a normal person. He has to walk in sideways because, us South Africans, we are very tiny peoples. So he probably has to walk in sideways like this. Do you know how tough it is to beat a guy like that? The final challenge, right, to those of you who didn't watch this, was the dragging of the iron poles, right? There were these giant iron poles that weighed 410 kilograms, which they had to drag and grab the flag at the end. Now, the funny thing about this entire thing was Mongolia had the tallest guy on the pitch, and they still lost. Mongolia had a basketball player in the middle there. But I know why they lost. I know why they lost. Their weighting was not evenly matched throughout the what you call the setup. So the peoples at the end ended up struggling the most. What they could have done is, instead of having both the strongest players in the middle, they could have used one strongest player in the middle, and then they move the other strongest player in the end. They put the two lightest players somewhere between the middle and the end, but not the complete end. That way you have more strength on either side as well as the center. The peoples that are doing the least work will be somewhere around between the center as well as the end, so that they don't have to do much weight. If they would have done that, then it would have ended in a different result. But they did what they did. They showed great sportsmanship towards the winner of the challenge. So I have mad respect for them. And I became inspired to do a video on Mongolian folk wrestling. I was inspired to do a video on Mongolian folk wrestling because Mongolian folk wrestling looks pretty cool. They have cool outfits, they have an amazing aura, and the way that guy was turning over people, bah! He even managed to flip a guy in which I never thought he would be able to flip. He, swi- he, swi- he flipped a Syrian wrestler. I believe it's Syrian wrestler. Yes, that guy was crazy. That guy was crazy strong. Mongolia was a force to be reckoned with. And let me not even get started on the aquabat. Yo, the aquabat was so amazing. There was this challenge where you had to hold on to these ring thingies. The one I was talking about against Australia. The way that guy was holding on to those rings looked like he would stand there for hours upon hours upon hours. An hour passed. Hour 40 minutes passed. That guy was still standing there. Oh, Team Japan was falling off. Team Australia was falling off. All the other teams were falling off. Hey, and that guy was just chilling there. He was like, I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. This is what I live for. I believe the guy was called the Monkey King or something like that as his nickname. Man, that guy is good looking. I'm not sure that I'm allowed to say that, but man, he's good looking. And he has incredible skills. During the shipwreck challenge, the way he was zipping all over the place, man, was just beautiful. He finished those crates in no time. Mad respect for that. Mad respect for that. I'm gonna go to the circus just to see if more acrobats are as impressive as that guy is. Salute. But not least, the best team throughout the tournament, the strongest team in all of Asia. The team that has a crazy amount of tenacity, the team that has the most strongest mental fortitude, the team which is the most disciplined, the team which is the most strategic, the overall goated team in the entire Asian region has to be Team Koryo. Damn, Korea is strong. I didn't know Koreans are so strong. Yes, 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 yes. They have this Kim Min Cha guy, which was a wrestler. Yes, 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 that guy is strong. Yo, even looking at him, you are like, damn, how can a man weight so much and yet be so fast and yet be so agile at the same time? I have mad respect for that guy. There was also this other guy who used to be fighting in the MMA. He was the team captain. He was Yushin Okami's arch rival because Yushin Okami happens to be the only guy who beats him in all of Asia to break his world record as the one with the most wins in the UFC out of the Asian continent. This guy is Enko Ogri Patarku. I'm sorry for butchering his name. I don't know how to pronounce such a long name. I can pronounce names like Chang In Sing. I can pronounce names like Kim Ming Ja. I can pronounce names like Yun Sun Bin because they are very short, very straight to the point. I enjoyed watching that show, Shem. I enjoyed watching Team Korea. And let me tell you something, guys. Watching Team Korea from their weakest point in the second quest, leading towards, being on the verge of disqualification, going to that dead match, and just turning tables around in the third quest, in the fourth quest, until the very last quest. They just continued piling pressure upon pressure upon pressure on each and every single one of their opponents, showing them that they are a force to be reckoned with, showing them that they have great sportsmanship, showing them that they have an immense amount of tenacity, mental fortitude, and just an overall powerhouse. Was incredible to watch. Now, these are the minutes I live for in sports like this. These are the minutes I live for in challenges like this. Physical Asia was amazing. Team Korea was amazing. You guys have earned my respect. Thank you very much.